Hello friends, welcome to Untold FM. We're here with a new story. Hope you enjoy it. It's early morning and the world is still dark. Sarah, a single mother, wakes up to the familiar beeping of her alarm. She sighs softly, knowing that another busy day lies ahead. She's exhausted, but she gets out of bed and walks down the hallway to check on her little boy, Ethan. Ethan is just 5 years old, and as Sarah stands in his bedroom doorway, she watches him sleeping peacefully under his superhero blankets. His tiny face looks so calm, and for a moment her heart feels lighter. But then, the weight of reality hits her again. Being a single mother wasn't part of her plan, but here she is, raising Ethan all by herself, working long hours and still trying to hold on to her own dreams. Every day is a challenge. Her mornings start before the sun rises, and she has to get everything ready for Ethan before rushing off to work. Lunches to pack, clothes to iron, and her own day at the office waiting for her. Sarah works as an assistant at a small company. The pay isn't great, but it's enough to cover the basics. Barely. After work, Sarah picks up Ethan from school, then spends the rest of the evening caring for him. It's a constant race against time, leaving her with hardly any energy to think about herself. And yet, deep down, she still holds on to a dream she's had since she was young. Sarah has always wanted to be a writer. She used to spend hours crafting stories, letting her imagination run wild. But now those dreams feel far away. They've been pushed aside by the demands of real life. One night, after a long day, Sarah sat at her kitchen table. Bills were scattered in front of her, and she didn't know how she would pay them all. From the other room, she could hear Ethan laughing while playing with his toys. Sarah closed her eyes for a second, trying to hold back the tears. The weight of everything felt overwhelming. She wanted to be strong for Ethan, but there were moments when it all seemed too much. Then, one evening, Sarah came home feeling more exhausted than usual. Her boss had been difficult, and she had barely made it through the day. Just as she sat down, Ethan handed her a crumpled piece of paper. It was for a school project, due the next morning. "Mom, can we do this together?" he asked with a hopeful smile. Sarah's heart sank. She was so tired, too tired to think. But when she looked at Ethan's wide, eager eyes, she couldn't say no. So, they sat at the table together, cutting and gluing, making the project look as good as they could. Ethan was full of excitement, chattering the whole time while Sarah struggled to keep her eyes open. But just as they finished, Ethan hugged her tightly and whispered, "You're the best, Mom." In that moment, everything changed. Sarah felt a wave of love so strong it washed away her exhaustion. She realized that even on her worst days, she was making it work. They were making it work together. There were little victories, too. Like the time Sarah saved enough money to take Ethan to the zoo. He had been asking for months, and when they finally went, the joy on his face was priceless. Or the nights when they would sit on the couch, snuggled up in blankets, watching movies together. Sarah would let herself relax, even if just for a little while, and forget the worries that usually filled her mind. But life wasn't easy. There were setbacks, like the time Ethan got sick, and Sarah had to miss work to take care of him. Or when her car broke down, and they had to walk to school in the rain. It felt like every step forward came with 2 steps back. But no matter how hard things got, Sarah found a strength inside herself she didn't know she had. One Saturday morning, something unexpected happened. Ethan came running into her room, waving a flyer from his school backpack. "Mom, there's a writing contest at the library. You should enter." Sarah's first thought was to dismiss it. Writing? Who had time for that? But Ethan's excitement was contagious, and for the first time in a long while, Sarah felt a spark of hope. Maybe she could do this. Maybe she could finally make time for her dream. That night, after Ethan went to bed, Sarah sat down with an old notebook and started writing. She wrote about a mother just like herself, who faced challenges but never gave up. She poured all her emotions, her love for Ethan, her worries, her strength, onto the page. Weeks passed and Sarah forgot about the contest. But one day, an email popped up in her inbox. She had won. Her story, the one that reflected her journey, had taken first place. There was a small cash prize, but more importantly, she had been invited to read her story at the library. On the day of the event, Sarah stood nervously in front of the small crowd. Ethan sat proudly in the front row, grinning from ear to ear. As she read her story, Sarah felt something shift inside her. The struggles, the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt. It all led her to this point. She wasn't just a mother who struggled. She was a mother who fought, who loved, and who dreamed. After the reading, Ethan ran up to her and hugged her tight. "I knew you could do it, Mom," he said with a smile. In that moment, Sarah realized something important. Life was never going to be easy. There would always be challenges. But she and Ethan were in it together, and that was enough. She was not just surviving, she was living, and she was showing her son that no matter how tough life gets, you can still chase your dreams. As Sarah looked down at her little boy, she knew they would keep going, hand in hand, facing whatever came next. This was the story of a mother and her son's love and strength. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, share this video, and subscribe to Untold FM for more such amazing stories. And if you have a story of your own that you'd like us to feature, drop it in the comments below. We'll try to turn it into a video too. Thanks for watching.